of sound.
Yo. My days number to infinity. When I close my eyes, I see the Trinity. Mind, body, and
All right, so the New York Jets, they're in total rebuild. They honestly did a really good job this offseason. They've added a lot of guys this offseason to improve their team now. You know, a lot of veteran guys to help out the young team. And something that they've done a good job of over the last couple of years is getting rid of the big bad assets that they have they've gone full force with their draft picks. You know, the Muhammad Wilkersons, the Sheldon Richardson, the Leonard Williams. They've gone full force with them. You know, they've let them play out, and they went ahead and they said, okay, Muhammad Wilkerson, you just have not been the guy that we're paying you to be, or the way you want to be paid. And so they let him go. He's a Packer now. Forte retired. You know, one of their better veteran guys as well. So those were kind of their losses. Other than that, they didn't lose a whole lot of big pieces, I'd say. You know, Bruce Carter still a free agent. Coney Ely went to Dallas. Austin Seferian-Jenkins is playing for Jacksonville now. Wesley Johnson, one of their linemen, went to Detroit. Demario Davis is gone. Maurice Claiborne and Josh McCown and Quincy Enunwa all re-signed those, so they retained those guys. Those are some of their free agents that they had in the offseason. Some of the guys they added that I think they did a good job of adding when you talk about their defense, Kevin Pierre-Louis, J.J. Wilcox, Courtney Upshaw, Avery Williams. You know, Upshaw and Williams and Pierre-Louis to say are all, you know, pretty good linebackers. Avery Williamson had a good year at Tennessee in the past. Cairo Santos, they added that kicker. They also got Kevin Minter. I think Kevin Minter was the big add of the summer. I liked Kevin Minter a lot. Thomas Rawls, you know, he's kind of on his last chance here. Terrell Pryor, another good add. Isaiah Crowell, Teddy Bridgewater. Tremaine Johnson in the secondary, another good add. Travis Swanson, a lineman that they needed. Andre Roberts, a wide receiver. So they added a lot of guys, a lot of veteran-type players, a lot of guys that have been here before been in the NBA or been in the NFL for a while now. And then draft-wise, Sam Darnold, you know, they potentially got the best best quarterback in the draft. So, because I mean, I would have took Darnold over Mayfield 100%. So I think Darnold was a good pick, and I think, you know, them getting him at 3 was even better. I think Darnold will definitely have a better career than Mayfield. I don't know how good their careers will be, though, because of the situation that they've got themselves put in. You know, I think, you know, if you get yourself put in a situation like Russell Wilson when you're on a pretty good team, I think when you have good pieces around you, it's a little easier. But when you're someone like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and you don't really have that many great pieces around you yet, it's really going to be hard to see what happens. And, you can't judge it right now because, I mean, look at the team that Jared Goff had his first year compared to the team he had his second year. It was tons better. So these teams like the Browns and the Jets could definitely improve in the next 2-3 years. But as of right now, Darnold, they're on the same little path. You know, let McCown and let Bridgewater go for the first 8 weeks. This team's not going to make the playoffs. This team's not going to be good. And then let Darnold play the second half of the season. Some other guys, Nathan Shepard, coming from a small school, pretty good player right there. Perry Nicholson, his dad played linebacker in the league. Some good lineage there. Falo Ruska, Fatu Kasi, I can't say his name. UConn, I think defensive end or linebacker, one or the other. Trenton Cannon, I'm glad this guy got picked out of Virginia State. His film was real hard to judge just because he was running all over people. He looked like he was way faster, way bigger than everybody, but, I mean, he was at like a D2 school. And then I know that they didn't draft this guy, but they added Dimitri Flowers, the fullback from Oklahoma. I wanted to put that in there, good add there. So some things I said for this offseason that they needed to do. find a franchise quarterback. Looks like they've done that with Darnold. Hopefully this guy can be their franchise quarterback. Address running back situation. Forte's gone. They didn't draft a running back. They did get Isaiah Crowell, Thomas Rawls, some guys that can play a bit, maybe play in a three-headed monster type situation, but no guys that are the main backs. And then they have Balazs Powell, but he's a scat back type to me. I don't see him being your every down back. So running back situation still a little bit up for grabs. I think they're going to go to a more pass-heavy look, though, with their new offensive coordinator, though. Just based on what their offensive line looks like, based on that they didn't really add a lot at the running back position, and the fact that their wide receiving core is pretty good. When you talk about Enunwa, when you talk about what's his name? Who's the kid that went off last year? Robbie Anderson. He had a really good year last year. So I think that they probably are going to be more wanting to pass the ball this year, kind of let it go, see what their quarterbacks can do, see what Darnold can do when he gets in there. They need to – and I said they need to draft – I can't read it right now. Draft defense, linebackers, cornerbacks. They did a good job of that, kind of addressing that in the free agency. So they didn't really have to do that as much. And I think, their defense is probably their strength. Their offense is pretty weak. The Bills and the Dolphins are all very similar. Bills, Dolphins, Jets. They have really better defenses and pretty shitty offenses, but their defenses are better. When you talk about the Jets secondary, Tremaine Johnson, Jamal Adams, Buster Shrink, Morris Claiborne, those are some of the guys in their secondary. Pretty good secondary there. Linebackers, obviously they added Avery Williamson and Kevin Minter at their linebackers. Kevin Pierre-Louis, Courtney Upshaw can play DN or outside linebacker. And then their defensive line, they still have Leonard Williams. They re-signed Mike Pennell. They're going to be fine on the defensive line. They got some big bodies there. The main issue, I think, this team is probably offensive line. They really need to figure out their offensive line and, the run game. What kind of weapons can they bring to the table in the run game if they can run the ball? And then Robbie Anderson and Enunwa, Terrell Pryor, I don't think that's enough. A little bit more firepower at the wide receiver position. Can Devin Smith come on this year? He's been injured. He's at Ohio State, pretty good little slot type guy. So we'll see what happens with the Jets. I'm looking at a 5-11, 6-10 type season out of them. I think all three of these teams get destroyed by the Patriots throughout the year. So you can go ahead and already look at the Patriots at about 6-0 in their division, maybe 5-1 if they don't play good in Miami, or if they don't play good in Buffalo, or if the Jets have a good game against them, they may lose one of those games. But all these teams are not going to be looking good in their division. Obviously against the Patriots, they're probably going to go 1-1 against Jets and Dolphins or Bills or whatever. All those teams will go 1-1, and I just don't see the Jets, Bills, or Dolphins having a very strong season throughout. I don't see them going through hot streaks. I see them maybe winning a game or two, luckily, but I think that when you stack them against the other teams in the NFL, I think that the other teams in the NFL are a little bit better, a little bit ahead of the Jets, and probably the Dolphins as well. You can put the Dolphins in that category. But I think, if Sam Darnold pans out, if this pick pans out, I think the Jets, have built themselves a pretty good team, future-wise, to build around him. So we'll see what happens with the Jets moving forward.
We should call